Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, this is John Gallagher from Raven, and you are deep within the Podras No-Cast. Turn it up!
Today we're talking with Mr. John Gallagher from the legendary band Raven. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Good to be here.
Your European tour is about to start. Can you tell us what can we expect? What are the dates? Where can we see you?
Well, we're, as they say, firing on all cylinders. We just finished a 40-day tour here in North America, which just ended back on Sunday. So we've had a few days to catch our breath, as it were, and we're looking forward to getting over. We'll be playing some new songs, some old songs we've played before, some old songs we haven't played previous to this tour that just happened there. So we mix it up. A lot of energy, a lot of fun. So we're really looking forward to it.
So this tour is actually tour from last year, since you and Mark had a bunch of health problems. I mean, that you're going back on the road, that means that everything is okay, or are there still some
Yeah,
things that you need
absolutely.
to sort out?
You know, we were supposed to, like you say, do these European dates last September. And in October, we were doing preparation. We were in our warehouse moving stuff around, and a case containing a snare drum fell down and hit me on the head.
Ow.
So, ow, no big deal, silly accident. But the next day I started getting headaches, and really bad headaches, where I would get a handful of ibuprofen and just go to sleep. And I'm very lucky that I finally got smart enough to go to the doctor, who sent me to the hospital, and they said, you've got a bleed on the brain, you need to be operated on immediately. So this is very similar to what happened to Ace Frehley.
Yeah, that was about to say, yeah, thank God that.
So when that happened, I was like, whoa, by the grace of God go I, and all that. So very, very lucky. They drilled holes in my head to let the blood out, because the blood between the brain and the membrane was pushing, and that can cause all kinds of troubles like strokes, and it can kill you. And a week later, they had to go in again because it wasn't draining properly. There was still blood there. They drilled more holes, but eventually, after about 2 weeks, I got out, and it just took a long time to get my strength back. And of course, they had me on drugs, which had me like, kind of zonked out for a long time. And in fact, I was on those drugs for 6 months. I finished them literally the first week of the tour. So it was very good to get off that, It was difficult because I had no point of reference. I was healthy, and then I was in the hospital. Now I didn't know what was the injury and what was the drugs at one point, And Mark had his ankle replaced. And then, since he knew I was going to be out of it, he went and had his knee replaced as well, because both of them are long-term problems he's been dealing with for many, many years.
Yeah, with all that jumping around and yeah.
Yeah, well, he had this terrible accident back in 2001 where both his legs were shattered and all beat up and stuff, so it's residual from that. But now you see him now, he's Mr. Smile, he's like, I can walk upstairs.
Okay, can you maybe tell us, did, let's say, the whole this health thing anyhow in any way influenced the tour? Did you maybe, I don't know, get a fresh start? Maybe, you had time.
Well,
I mean, of course,
very...
you needed to rest and all that, but within that time, I guess you also got, I don't know, a bunch of ideas. I guess you're not just laying around and all that.
No, not at all. We'd done an awful lot of work previous to the accident for a new album, which we hope to be recording in July, August this year. We have I think we've got all the songs we need. We have an awful lot of songs, and we have the ability to look through them and go, okay, what would be the best starting song? What would really, really knock you on the head? And, is there like an epic type of thing you would want to put in the middle? What would be a crazy song to end on? And we can kind of pre-sequence and boil that down to maybe 14, 15 songs, and then work a little more on them, and then maybe boil that down by like one or two more, and hopefully record anywhere between 12 and 14, and then we've got the album, So we were just very motivated to get well, for in my case, and for the rest of the guys just to get out, and it's after having the pandemic put us all on hold for a little bit and have this, it was very frustrating, but it's, this is life.
Yeah.
You get roadblocks, you got to climb over them. It's just the way it is.
And can you maybe tell us when can we expect the album? I mean, now you will be busy with the touring and all that, so I guess somewhere next year or maybe even this year?
Yeah, it'll be next year. If we get this done like July, August and get it together, kind of like this time of year, I would think. The record company has like between a 6 and 9 month lead time that they need to prepare. They need to put a slot in for manufacturing and promotion and all that nonsense. So it's never as quick as we want it to be, but I'm just happy we put the EP out last year, and it keeps the momentum. We're touring, we're like, hey, we're still here, we've got some cool music to come. So the timing won't be bad. We have, we had that EP, and we also had the track we did, the cover tune of Metal Militia of Metallica on that Metallica cover album, which was a lot of fun to do, and that was interesting.
Yeah, you guys go way back, yeah.
Yeah, so it keeps, it keeps the motor running, as it were.
And can you maybe tell us any interesting stories from the current preparations for the album?
Not really at the moment. I mean, I came up with a lot of ideas. There's some ideas, a couple of song ideas from Mike, who started playing guitar, and he was able to put his ideas down. Goes, what about this riff? I goes, that's great. Let's take that, and I put them in shape and go, okay, what do you guys think of this? Yeah, yes, no, maybe, try this. And then we change that, and then I'd write some lyrics and do a vocal, and they go, what do you think? And go, maybe yes, maybe no. We'd bounce it around between us. And that's the process. We get the song into shape. And then what we'll do is Mark will go in, because he has such an idiosyncratic way of playing guitar. It sounds like nobody else, We'll get him to play his parts, send them over to Mike. He'll mess around, he'll create. What he ends up doing is creating a click track which goes, here's the verse, it's 1 speed, it'll get a little faster for the chorus, it'll come back down for the verse, maybe come down a little bit for the middle 8, really get excited for the solo and come back. There's all these ups and downs, and that makes it breathe as if we were actually all in the same room. The purpose of this is so that he can get an interesting drum track rather than just a drum track. He can play and then he go, okay, I don't like that fill. Maybe I could do something more interesting here. And he'd play it to us and we'll go, nah, don't play the cymbals in that part. Just play like a tom-tom fill. Don't play this. Play double speed, play half speed, try this, try that. And we'll make it work, bring it up, elevate the creativity part. And we have the ability that when we add our stuff and go, maybe it would have been better if you've done this. And you go, well, let me look. I've got a version here where I played that at half speed. Let's try that. And we can do that. Where in the bad old days, when we'd all be in the same room, you'd have to take the drum track as recorded. It was just like, let's just get a drum take. and there was no ability to go back and go, well, I don't like that part. It was just
Yeah,
like,
also
well,
everything
it is what it
costed
is, you
way
know.
more. Yeah.
So we're able to do that and also still have that little 20-30% of try something,
Mm,
the spontaneity, a little bit of creativity with that. And the proof is in when you listen. It sounds like the three of us in one room going crazy. And that's what it has to sound like, you know.
mm,
In the old days, we did one album with a click track and it sounded terrible because the excitement was in the pull and push between the guitar and the drums, and it was eliminated. It was just bump, bump, bump. The way we're doing it now, you've got that little push and pull here and there when it's exciting, and you can make it work. So that's what's going to be coming up soon, is to really work on, adding the drum
mm.
quotient to the songs, and then when we have that, we'll all go in. We'll all go in together into Mike's studio in Texas, and it'll be the three of us, and we'll go through guitars and bass and vocals and whatever crazy little odds and ends we need, and if necessary, change some drum stuff. And it worked so well with the last album, All Hell's Breaking Loose. It was just the three of us. Mike engineered, did a fantastic job, and it was great. Just the first time we've ever done it like that. Just the three of us, shouting at each other. Nah, you can do better than that. Try another one.
Yeah,
Try this, try that. It's
that's
all about trying
the
something
organic way
else
of,
till
yeah.
you get something better than what you thought you would get.
Yeah, the organic way that you're.
Yeah,
It's.
it's
I
an
mean,
organic way of doing it with sterility.
yeah, that you don't just record something and then I don't know, we transfer it to somebody else and then you just copy paste it. Yeah. Can you maybe
No,
tell
that
us?
that you can do those things. I mean,
Yeah, but it
but
shows what's organic and
it's
what's not.
so fake. It's not organic. We don't do the, okay, we've done a chorus. Let's copy it and paste it on the second chorus and on the third and on the
Mm,
fourth. And I play that guitar riff really good. Okay, we copy, we paste, we paste. No, you cannot do that. You do that, you know, if you were in a rush and you were doing a demo just so somebody could have an idea,
mm,
maybe, but otherwise, nah. I mean,
mm.
that's a great tool for songwriting.
Yeah, that you
Maybe we
remember
take
what.
the chorus out here. Click, click, boom, pull it out.
Mm,
For people who don't know, it's kind of like word processing. If you have a document, you go, I don't like that line, and you could take
mm,
it out and you could
mm,
type something else in.
mm.
That's the
Exactly.
concept with Pro Tools with that. Uh, but for music and to have it feel real and be real, you got to play it.
Yeah.
You got to play it.
Mm. And can you tell us maybe since the band has been around for 53 years?
52 years, yeah.
Yeah, can you maybe tell us what is still keeping you creative? I mean, is that the whole
I'm
thing that
still
you
excited about picking up a guitar and
mm,
coming up with, and strange things will happen. Like on the EP, we did a song called The Wreckage, which
mm,
is a little different. It's very dark. And that came from a finger picking thing I did. And I played the bottom part and Mark played the melody
mm,
on the top. And I sketched it and went, wow, this is pretty cool. What do you think, guys? Like, that's different. Go with it. Let's see what we can come out with that.
mm. And do you think I mean the other day I had some interview and the point was that one of the inspirations was also that the singer still didn't write the perfect song. Are you also it's that also your motivation keeping you like busy? Oh, I still haven't written the perfect song. Uh,
No, I
is,
don't think the perfect song exists. There are some that are very close, obviously. Uh,
mm,
you just always feel there's something else out there, and it's a challenge, you did this on the last one, the next one, you want to do that. You want to have it more crazy, more melodic, more interesting, some new twists. Try to do something you haven't done before. And that's an endless task. You can always do something a little different. You can always do something a little better. And, you know, if that stopped, I don't think it would be fun anymore, you know.
Yeah,
But that's a huge thing. Just me sitting in a room going, wow, I come up with something I've never played before. And it really makes me feel good, and I want somebody to hear it. That, and then the whole process of getting everyone in and putting that into a song and being able to play it live and see people react to it. That's wonderful. You know, that's something really special.
Exactly. That it comes. I mean, I know it's a bit a cliche, but it has to come naturally. That you get an idea and then
Yeah, I try not to question it. Whenever, generally, like I did right there, I'll pick up something and play and go, okay, just keep going. And maybe you have a good day and you'll end up sitting for 2 hours just putting ideas. I have thousands of ideas in here, and maybe half of them are like, but a lot of them are really good. And it's like, wow, let's do something with this. Where would that go? And maybe you hear something right next to it. It's like, oh, well, if we put them two together, there's a verse, there's a bridge, we need a chorus, you know, or vice versa, you know.
And if we go a bit back to your upcoming dates, are you planning to play some rare stuff that you haven't played in a while? Or
Yeah, there's a couple of songs we haven't played in. Well, one of them we haven't played in like 20, 25 years. And another one, we started playing on the tour in America. We hadn't played live ever. And we always mix up one or two. There's a couple of spaces we say, let's play that one tonight. If it seems to be going really well, we'll stretch it out. And we do break the chain, and in the middle of that, we'll start jamming and playing like parts of other people's songs. You know, just like 30, 40-second snatches, and that can be anything. We'll put some Judas Priest, Sabbath, Cheap Trick, whatever, you know, whatever. We just look at each other and go, okay, what's next?
And can you maybe tell us, I mean, since you've been writing songs for more than a half of century, how did your songwriting change over the years? I mean, if you look back to your, let's say, first songs that you written, what would you say is the thing that you see by yourself that has changed the most?
I don't know. I think you have a little more craft in it as far as the mechanics of recognizing something that could be a song, and the mechanics of putting it together. And you know, it's one of those things. It's like working out, or it's like singing as well. It's something you have to do, and you have to do on a regular basis. You have to keep doing it, because if you don't do it, your abilities kind of wear away. So it's always good to keep playing and keep recording stuff, and then interim go back and go, okay, what have we got here? Do we have something we can work with? But usually at a certain point when we're doing a project, I'll just go, I've got all the songs I need. I'm done. I don't need to do anything else. And it'll be, you know, your brain will just go, okay, we're done with that for now. We're not, you know, you'll pick a guitar and maybe nothing comes out. It's just like, it's not the time. And you can't push it. You can't sit down and go, okay, today we're going to write a song. And you'll sit there and go, nothing there. It's like pointing your aerial, you know, it's got to be the right weather, you got to get the right signal, and then it'll come in, and then it'll go, okay. It's a curious process, and what a lot of people say, like, you know, well, I don't write a song that just comes to me from somewhere else. And There's an awful lot of songs out there, and I think everyone gets little bits of stuff here and there. It's weird.
And what would you say is more important to you when you make the songs? Is it the energy or the whole message that you are trying to deliver with the song?
It's a combination. It has to have that energy. It has to have, that passion in it. It has to be musically interesting. We like a verse, a chorus, maybe a bridge and a middle eight. But then we like to put left turns in, crazy stuff you wouldn't expect. Because you have to have a framework that you can be comfortable with, and that way you can surprise people. If it's all surprises all the time, that makes it kind of difficult to listen to. You don't have a point of reference. And then you're verging into jazz rock and fusion and, just being crazy. Hey, a musician's going to have fun listening to this. And that becomes a little more self-serving and insular, You want to have something that will appeal on maybe a basic level, and then surprise people, and then bring the interesting stuff in. You have to have both. And it has to have that, structure and chaos, and the opposing forces, like
a bit of everything,
noise, a little bit of everything will boils down and makes a raving song, really.
So next to your touring plans and album, you're also working on the new documentary about the band. Can you tell
I'll be
us more?
talking to Todd hopefully later today. We're very excited about that. Guy Todd Sheets is a director of a lot of horror movies over the last 20-25 years. So he's very technically gifted and a great fan of the band. So he's got knowledge and passion about it. So it's very early days on that, but we're really looking forward to, we're going to have a long interview list of people to talk to and start looking for materials, videos, and there's still stuff out there that pops up every now and again.
But will that be based on your whole career? Like, will you be doing the whole from day one to now? Or are you planning to concentrate?
We're planning to do pretty much, I think, day one till now. Go right through the whole thing from the beginnings all the way up,
And I guess
it's an interesting story. It just started off, with me and my brother and a friend down the street just going, we're going to form a band. And we had no idea what we were doing. And it was in a time where you had to work it out yourself. There was no roadmap. We had no other people around us that were in bands to copy from, We had to do it the hard way. But I think because of that, we ended up sounding a little different,
And I can only imagine how much stuff you have in the archives and all that. But can you maybe tell us, I mean, you have to do a lot of digging and exploring and all that. Did you maybe find out any interesting story that you would like to share with us? Maybe some gem that you forgot about, but then it was rediscovered, so to say.
Well, like in the early days, we lived about probably like 3-4 kilometers out of the center of Newcastle. And when we had a show in town, we would get posters printed up, and we'd go out at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning with a bucket of paste and a roll of posters and walk into town. It could be raining, foggy, cold, snowing, whatever. Walk into town, look around for the police, and put the posters up all over town. And it'd take like, a couple of hours. We'd do crazy stuff like that. And we just did whatever we could. And it was very interesting how we ended up getting our first single out, because we were in Newcastle, which was whatever, like 300-400 kilometers away from London. Everything was in London.
Mm,
And where we were, we might as well have been in outer Mongolia, you know, just different,
mm,
different planet.
yeah.
And what that did, however, is a number of bands there, they just played music for the sake of playing music. They
Mm,
loved music. They weren't doing it like the bands around London who were very mercenary and very looking to, you know, make a career and make money and hustle. That was never going to happen. It was all about playing the music.
mm,
So when Neat Records started, and they put out a couple of singles, the Tiger Sapantang and Fist, and they were reviewed by a London music paper, and people started buying them. And it was like, oh, what's this? Bands from the Northeast. And we ended up doing a single with Neat, and it changed our lives.
mm.
You know, you're playing a club, and then 2 months later, you got on with Ozzy Osbourne. You're playing with Ozzy Osbourne. And we'd never done anything like that before. It was like, wow. We'd never played outside of a 30, 40 kilometer radius. And
Mm.
all of a sudden, we're going around the country with Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, and with Whitesnake and Metallica,
And
yeah.
then Whitesnake and Iron Maiden and,
Mm.
uh, you know, people like that. It was just a rocket ride, just woof, you know, all of a sudden doing these things.
Mm. And also, when I was doing the research, I also find, I mean, it's it's not quite heavy to calculate. You were starting in the same era like Brian Johnson, also from now AC/DC, and you also started with Sting. Can you maybe tell us any funny stories from back in the day? Any?
Well, when I was at school, there was a play, and they had this drama theatre, which was a eight-sided, like kind of round building, and that's where we ended up playing our first show, like a year later. But this would be '74,
Mm,
and they had a guitar player and a bass player playing music along with this play or poems or whatever was going on. And a girl in my class nudged me and goes, "That's Sting." Because he had a rugby shirt that was yellow and black, you know,
mm,
like, looked like a bee, and he was playing bass. He plays in a band called Last Exit who play in town. They're a
mm.
jazz band. Like, oh. And that stuck in my head because then, you know, the police, boom, boom.
Yeah.
So seen him way back when there. I saw Brian in Geordie
Mm.
twice
Oh, yeah.
before AC/DC. He was fantastic. Uh, One of the guys from the Animals gave Mark a ride to the dentist in his car. Hilton Valentine. So
Yeah.
there was an amazing amount of talent in a small area.
Mm,
Mark Knopfler used to play the Gosforth Hotel. I never saw him, but you know, just unbelievable amount of talent in a small area. And I think a lot of it was when you were a kid there, your future was kind of planned out for you. You were going to work in a factory.
mm.
That was it. And a lot of people kicked back against that. Going, I don't want to work in a factory. So there was two ways out. You would either play football
Mm.
or you'd play music. And we
Yeah.
weren't very good at football, so we ended up playing music, you know?
Yeah, fair enough. If I got that correctly, your first documentary was called Electroshock Therapy, covering your tour in 1991.
Yeah.
And there it was also mentioned that on your way from Germany to Greece, you made a stop in Yugoslavia, in former Yugoslavia, and that you had one of the worst meals ever, if I got that correctly. Can you tell us where was that and what did you eat?
I think we pulled over to a roadside restaurant and said, you know, try to say, are you open? No, 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 not open. And we waved euros and they went, yeah, 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 we're open, come on in. And I don't know, it was just lumps of meat.
Mm,
You see, I think Joe pretending to be Lemmy with a lump of bread on his face.
yeah.
And I think a few people ended up with what they call Montezuma's revenge afterwards, you know, the shits.
But where was
But
that? Like
it
in
was a
format?
strange time because we drove through to play Greece and we drove back very fast because it was right on the cusp of the war starting
Mm,
and we had to get out of there quickly, yeah.
but I guess that was what, Croatia, Serbia, and then to Greece, or
I believe it had to, I think we were driving through Serbia, I think when we hit, I think that's where it was.
yeah, then you probably had cevapcic, that's this minced meat, like rolled. The, it's a traditional food there. But yeah, when I was doing a research, I found this story to be too good not to to put an interview and to ask you that. Since you're also coming in September in Zagreb.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to that. We always love playing new places and you know, I'm sure there's been people there that are probably thinking, wow, Raven's coming to Zagreb. That's going to be interesting. So look forward to that.
Yeah.
And I've been pushing for this for years. We want to play, you know, Eastern Europe. We want to play Sofia. We want to play Bulgaria. We want to play Zagreb. We want to play Croatia, blah, 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 you know. So it's good that slowly it's happening. That's good.
Yeah, Nino and Bekim and the rest of the devotion crew are sending their regards. So
Excellent.
I,
Excellent.
I have to put that into. And since we are also talking about the 80s, or I mean, early 90s, late 80s, it was also a period, so a bit, let's say in the mid 80s, you, because of the web that you started with your singles and all that, you ended up with Atlantic Records, where you, let's say, changed your style. You, let's say, your sound became, let's say, a bit more commercial. How are you looking back on that decision now? I mean, it's been 40 years,
Well, it
and
was a learning period. We were very naive. So the Stay Hard album, I like. There was very little interference from the record company with Stay Hard. They wanted a cover of our old song Hard Ride. That was about as far as the interference went. And when it came to the follow-up, because Stay Hard had done well and they had all these glorious ideas, I think they thought we would be like Kiss meets Bon Jovi or something stupid like that. And we were like, yeah, okay. And we okayed ourselves to death, you know. It was not a situation we enjoyed being in by the end of it. They changed us, they made us very commercial, and at the end of the day, they didn't even support it. Which, looking back now, it's like, thank God, you know, we were able to get out of that and just do what we wanted to do. But at the time, it was very annoying and upsetting. It's like, what do you mean we're not doing a video now? No, we're not giving you money for a video. It's like you've spent all this money and all this time doing the record and then you're not going to promote it. So we had a long meeting with our management at the time and we said, we want to do an EP, we want to make it heavy, and we want to go out and tour on that. And the opportunity came up to open for Twisted Sister when they were going to do the Come Out and Play tour. I'm like, that's going to be fantastic. And they cancelled their tour 1 week before it started because they were in the same situation. They'd been pushed by Atlantic to be incredibly commercial. And that record was quite a departure even for them, you know. So we ended up just touring by ourselves, and then the next album was very heavy, Life's a Bitch, and the record company had no idea, didn't understand it. It's like, why, you guys don't want to do hit singles anymore? And da, da, da. It was very much like the record company people you would have saw in Spinal Tap. They really were like that. They had no idea. Oh, it's so nice to meet you. You know, all this horrible horrible people. So it was a learning thing, and we learned that we didn't want to be in the studio for 3 months and mix for a month and go over and over and over and over in that style. We wanted our music to be exciting and stuff that we would like, and not be thinking about, well, what do you think they're going to like?
That you're
You
not second
can't
guessing.
win. If you want to do that, go write songs for Rihanna or Madonna or Sabrina Carpenter or something. You know, you can't win with that game. That's ridiculous. You can only be creative with stuff that inspires you. So we have to make ourselves happy, and then hopefully someone else will come along for the ride, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And also, I mean, I don't know if that was just my observation but when I was listening to The Pack is Back, that was also produced by Eddie Kramer, and Ace Frehley's album that came out a year later, Frehley's Comet. I mean, not music-wise, but I guess sonic-wise, like I don't know, the vibe of the album is
That'd
quite.
be interesting. I'd like to listen to that to do that comparison. Yeah, there may be a lot of
Yeah, that it
similarities
was.
production wise.
Yeah,
Yeah,
productions. Yeah, that's the thing that I wanted to ask you. Was that like coincidence, or I mean, since Eddie worked on the both things, I guess he
I
was in
think it was
certain.
where Eddie was at the time in his head and where the music business was at that time. That was the thing. It was all
Like a logical
everyone trying
continuation. Yeah.
to jump onto Mutt Lange's coattails. You know, there was a lot of that going on because that's not Eddie's forte, and it wasn't our forte. And somehow we like, oh, let's do a high-tech heavy metal hard rock album. Eddie's forte was creating that live feel in the studio, and that was our forte. And we threw all that out the window and said, oh, let's pretend to
Yeah,
be
because
something we're not.
I love demos that he did with Kiss, like in early 70s, like very organic and very.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, I mean, you
Yeah,
know,
he.
Bad Company. Eddie worked with, you know, the greats and had that wonderful organic sound, like you said. So, and in fact, as far as a producer goes, that was pretty much the last time we worked with a producer. We just said, from now on, we know what we want, and we
Yeah.
will get an engineer who can translate that through technology onto tape. And, you know, we worked with Michael Wagner a few times after that, but it was mainly as an engineer. We knew what we wanted. We had the songs together. There wasn't like a pre-production session with the producer, which, you know, working with Eddie and back in the day working with Michael was very much the case. We kind of had that process down. We would do the pre-production, we would come up with songs, and we just needed someone who had the technical wherewithal to get it down on the tape.
Yeah, I guess
you know?
like we mentioned earlier, it's like a learning experience that you are here today.
Yeah, I mean, it
You
was
had to
learning a
go
lot of
through
things
all these things. Yeah,
not to do. Learning a lot of things not to do. And we were very lucky because there was an awful lot of bands in the same situation that ended up breaking up because of the business, because of them taking huge advances and not being able to pay them back. And it's just like, well, sorry, you're over. Boom. We were lucky enough to have the financial thing structured so we weren't personally liable. And if it went into bankruptcy, it was a company and it wasn't us, and we could
yeah, that you're
move
not
on.
responsible with your own money. Yeah. So that we enter on a bit, let's say, more happy note. What else is keeping you busy? So you are about to hit the road once again. Are there some special things that you would like to recommend to us? Did you see any good movies? Read a book? What would you recommend to us?
Oh dear. I'm trying to think if there's anything really good I've seen lately. Oh, jeez. It just seems to be in a morass of terrible movies. I can't really recommend any. What I can recommend is the reissue of Robin Trower's live album from 1975 with 5 extra tracks.
Oh, awesome.
One of the greatest guitar albums of all time. So I was very happy to get that. I ordered that when I was away on tour. So I'm really enjoying that. So delving into the old stuff. And as far as the new stuff, I'm trying to look. Even the new stuff is old stuff at this point. I got an old Bruce Dickinson album, Judas Priest.
Have you seen the new Iron Maiden documentary?
I haven't. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Yeah, the Maiden one, and I know they're making a Judas Priest documentary at the same time. Everyone's making these things.
Yeah,
but the Iron Maiden one's got to be a great story.
Me and wife went to see it now on Thursday because I think it was a premiere here also. How should I put it? We enjoyed it, like, for the whole movie experience and all that. Yeah, of course, there are some things that, I mean, if you are, let's say, a bit nerd for the music and all that, there's always missing something. But I guess from the whole point of view, maybe the thing that, let's say, I don't want to say bothered me, but the thing that I was missing is they put lots of, let's say, fans talking how they like it, that it's Iron Maiden, Eddie, this and that. But what I missed is like, I don't know, maybe even, I mean, since they started, let's say, in the same period, like, I guess you guys did, or I don't know, Judas Priest, Sax and all that, I missed maybe the bigger role of this kind of bands, you know, your point of view or your stories, how you played together, this and that. So a bit more, let's say, from that perspective, from that era. Yeah, of course.
Like hear from the people that were in that scene back then, rather than just some random fan going like, I love Iron Maiden. It's a tough, you know, when you're talking about a career like theirs or a career like ours, where you're talking 40, 50 years, it's very hard to boil that down to an hour and a half or 2 hours. It's almost like you need one of those Netflix documentaries.
Yeah, or maybe that was something.
And you know what? They could have done that. They absolutely could have done that.
Yeah, but on the other hand, the impression that I got was also, I mean, since it is, I mean, in my opinion, it is a documentary for the casual fans, because, and also as far, I mean, they have already done like the series, I think 15 years ago or so, Behind the Curtain, early days, this and that. So if you are more into that stuff, you have this
out there, I guess, for the super fan. There is stuff out.
If you are interested in
this is more for the someone that's heard the name Iron Maiden and they don't know much about them. It's basically that.
Or maybe,
I mean, I know for a fact that Metallica have a long-term project where they've interviewed everybody that had anything to do with Metallica. Because we got interviewed, and there's people I know from New York who got interviewed, and it's so random that it's like everyone that had anything to do with them at the beginning, they interviewed them. So there'll be some kind of long-term project coming out on that, you know. They were very smart about that.
I saw them 2 years ago in Milan with their ever-changing set list and all that. And yeah, I mean, for the band being that long in the can and still coming out with different business ideas, how to not just promote an album, but also put on the bill younger bands that will bring younger fans who will see, oh, Metallica, there's something that my dad listened, I give it a go, and boom, new fans.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that's sometimes that'd be the only thing you could really criticize Metallica for, is taking out some dreadful opening bands. Some of the bands they take out are just like, it's a corporate decision. You know, these are bands that are selling to young kids, and it's just like, oh, they're great. It's like,
Mm,
I mean, yeah, you know, they have the opportunity. They don't need an opening band. They can go out without an opening band, so they could take out pretty much whoever they wanted
mm,
to. They could do a summer of '84 and take out Exodus and whoever else. They could do all that stuff, but it's such at that level. I don't know. It's such a corporate thing where they're like
mm,
5 times removed from those decisions
mm,
themselves. It's just like, this is the band that's going to open, and boom, boom, boom. We've been
mm,
very lucky in that we opened for them twice,
mm,
where I just asked Laws, can we open for you in Brazil?
mm.
And he said yes. And then I had an avalanche of people trying to say no. It's like, nah, we're good.
Mm,
But, do you have the correct visa? Yep. But, it's like,
mm.
oh, we weren't involved in this decision. That's right, because you're not Lars Ulrich. It's his decision. So
Yeah.
it's obviously a far different game at that level, because
Mm.
they are far and away one of the
Yeah, they have
biggest acts
people
on the
people
planet.
doing business
But we did
stuff
that,
for
and
them.
like it's 3 years ago now. We were invited by him to come and do the tribute to John and Marsha Zazula
Mm.
in Hollywood, Florida, which was amazing.
Mm. They
Which was
only played
incredible.
stuff from the first two records or
Yeah,
three.
they just
Yeah.
played songs from the first 2 records,
Mm.
and the stage was all their old, cases and cabinets, and they had
Mm.
a multimedia presentation with all amazing old photographs and stuff.
Mm.
So
Mm.
that was a really cool thing to be part of. It was a great night. It was great.
Mm.
But that whole documentary thing, it's tough. You've got to, unless you're doing an unlimited multi-part thing,
Yeah.
you say it's an hour and a half, 2 hours,
Yeah, and
and
the
you've got to
classic
make a
format,
lot
and
of
then
tough decisions to cut
mm.
it down.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're going to go, we started, Paul Diano left. We got Bruce. Bruce
Mm.
left. Bruce
Yeah.
came back. Baba,
Yeah.
here we are.
Yeah, it was something like that, but like I say, I don't want get too much into it because I don't want to ruin your experience. But you will enjoy it. So if you are just like, oh, a
Yeah.
new Maiden thing, okay, you will love it. I
And again, a band like Led Zeppelin, that becoming Led Zeppelin, that was
mm,
great.
I
But
have
it
to yet
only
to see
takes
it,
you
but
up,
I heard
only
good.
takes you up to basically the start of the second album. And
Mm,
there's a huge story to follow with that. And
mm,
it's a question of, are they going to follow that up or not?
mm,
You know, uh, who knows? But,
mm,
you know, I don't know about you, but sometimes it's not even about the band. These documentaries are amazing human stories because they're usually
mm.
from people who came from nothing,
Yeah,
and they end up being
motivation and
incredibly successful. And that is a fascinating story.
because
Always.
you can, I mean, to whom not to learn then from them,
Yeah,
yeah. So.
yeah. They're always those. I mean, I was talking to my brother the other day, and he's like, famously, we hated the Eagles when we were kids because all the other bands in town wanted to be the Eagles.
Mm,
So we were like the anti-Eagles. There's a documentary about the Eagles, and it's fantastic. It's
mm,
fantastic. They were, utterly ruthless to get to where they wanted to be, and the interpersonalities and the fights, and
yeah, it's.
it's a great story. It's just it makes great cinema. Absolutely.
Mm. Okay, John. So that was it from from my side. Thank you very much for your time. Good luck with the tour and safe travels, of course. Definitely looking forward to seeing you in Croatia in September. Do you have any closing thoughts that you would like to share with us?
Just we're looking forward to that ourselves. That's going to be fantastic. And thanks to everyone out there for your support. And we'll see you out on the road very, very soon.